Hey guys, Frank and Tom from Space Hive here. We're reflecting on 350 odd fantastic Crowdfund London ideas that came in before the 18th of November. We've had some wonderful ideas, including a floating cinema, a roller rink, loads of garden ideas. And we're really wonderfully excited about the 2 months ahead of us before the deadline for you to submit your pitches. It's two really exciting but challenging months ahead, but if you plan really early and think about what your key blockers are, you'll be in a really good position for that deadline on the 13th of January. So in terms of blockers, the sort of things we're talking about could be, for example, I was speaking to someone up in East London, and they were talking about putting on creating a maker space for the local people to use. But one of the things they hadn't really considered was, would this space be used by local people? And the thing that they needed to focus on was this consultation piece. So they went out and talked to the local community, found out that perhaps they wanted to slightly reorientate the project. But this was really important because when it comes to the campaign, it's going to be really important that local people are on board and they can support a campaign. So getting that consultation of the local community is really important from the outset.
I was also speaking with a project creator just this morning, and the question came up, and it's one that comes up a lot, was how much should your project be? And obviously this is going to be key because you want to deliver something meaningful. You don't want to miss this opportunity, but you also don't want to set a target that's so ambitious that means that you raise the possibility of not hitting it. And so part of this is really down to what you consider your kind of pull to be. You're going to need to do a bit of a mapping exercise where you try and identify the different tranches of money that you can get: money from your friends and family, money from colleagues, from local businesses, and you can obviously factor in the Mayor of London's pledge into that as well. So you know that the Mayor can pledge up to £50,000 and up to a maximum of 70% of your project costs, provided that you have capital expenditure in there. So what I'd like you to do really is just think about that and think about the different tranches of money that could be available, and that will give you an idea. What we don't want you to do is find out that actually your crowd and your potential crowd isn't big enough to support your project target. So just go away and have a think about that, and if you have any questions you can obviously email us and we can have a chat about your project size.
Yeah, another thing that's actually just raised its head this afternoon as well is to do with the teams that your individual projects are going to have when you're actually going to be running your crowdfunding campaign. Now, another chap I've been speaking to has this wonderful, really creative sculpture installation planned. But by his own admission, he said the campaign team is me, myself, and I. You really need to think about who else can be a part of this campaign team, because it really can't fall on one person. To take the reins and hit the target of your crowdfunding campaign. So think about is it your friends? Is it maybe your colleagues? Is it someone who can handle the social media? I'm sure from your wide network of connections that you can assemble a group of people who are really bought into your idea, as passionate about it as you are, and can advocate for it as well, because that's really important. So you're all sharing the load when it comes to late January and February when we're launching our campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, again, the more people that are involved with the project, the more networks there are, the more friends and family there are to tap up. So you will definitely appreciate having a slightly bigger team, and don't just put it on one person. Anything else, Frank?
No, I don't think so. I think really what we have now is two really challenging but really exciting months ahead of us, and it's great that we're talking now because there's plenty of time for us to think about these key blockers that you need to really tackle for us to be ready on the 13th of January. I guess a way of going about that is thinking about a mini action plan, perhaps, to kind of set yourself tasks to complete these and overcome these blockers at particular times. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, I think we'll be sending out like a kind of recommended timetable for as and when you should be completing the different stages of creating your project. But I guess the key takeaway from here is like start now. The best prepared projects are the ones that go on to successfully crowdfund. So you may have an amazing idea, but if you tell us about it, in the first week in January, we have very little time to give you feedback. There's always things that you can improve. There's always ways in which your project page can be tighter, that the message behind it can be more impactful, that your budget can be brought down to something more realistic. Any of these things that come up, the sooner that you do it, the sooner we find out about it, the more help we can give you. So take our advice, get ahead of the game, and you will stand a much better chance of succeeding at this.